Oh, quick opinionated review. Uh, for Monster Hunter World, it's my first time playing a Monster Hunter game, and I was so psyched about it that one finally came to console because I've been looking at this game series for a long time, and it's only been on handhelds. I've never really owned any except for PSP, long ass time ago. But I'm only renting it temporarily from Redbox, so I only can get a glimpse of it. But right now, I'm like, I think 2.5 hours into it. And from what I can tell, it is amazing. It is so fun. I've only faced one big creature so far. That's how much stuff you have to do. There's armors to create, there's weapons to create and test, all sorts of stuff to do. It now at first, if you're new to this series like I am, it's a lot to take in right away, and you feel overwhelmed a bit. That can be kind of daunting. Don't let that stop you. Don't let that dissuade you from continuing on. Now, it does seem like, however, a little word of warning if you are only a solo player, which is I'm unfortunately forced to be because I don't have internet, you're going to be taking on all creatures by yourself, even though the NPC's like, oh, hey, I'm going to go with you. I don't want you to get hurt. They always like, oh, you're on your own. It's like, then why are you even saying that beforehand? But that's a small little. But beside that, combat is really nice. The 14 different weapons, some are a little a little bit more difficult to get a hang of. Some are pretty easy to pick up. They have a little star rating by them actually when you look at the item at the base level in your item box. You can switch between them at any time when you're at the box. Say you choose a gun lance, and it's not really your thing. Well, you can go back after you're done testing it and switch to a different one. I like that. 14 different weapons. However, after those 14, there are no others, but you can choose a weapon base and then upgrade it and switch it between different things depending on the parts you have. The options seem to be just completely vast and just really crazy. I've only just begun to do that stuff, and I'm the amount of customizations you can do with these things is great. I think I've just touched the tip of the iceberg. So much to do. Then there are quests, story quests, and side quests. However, if you're offline, you're completely cut off from events and stuff like that, which kind of blows. But I can see how they need to be connected to a server for these random events and shit like that because a game, even though this generation of consoles has a lot of computing power and stuff like that to boast, it still can't handle randomly generated events of that size and scale. Because these creatures can get pretty big. I mean, holy shit. Damn. But still, it's really fun. And I've just touched the tip of the iceberg. Like I said, so far, the only little thing I can say that's kind of not really bad, but just kind of funny, but can take you out of the experience. The NPCs, their mouths don't really match up with the words they're saying sometimes. It's like, I know there's a, translation barrier and all that stuff, so it's not a problem. It's just something that can kind of pull you out of the experience. You're like fully enthralled. They break into a cutscene. It's like, now, granted, the main actual cutscenes, it's not that noticeable, but you can kind of see it. However, when you're out of cutscenes in the hub area or at the campsites, it's very noticeable. Now, I think Monster Hunter World is considered JRPG or something like that. This is my first one. I don't know if that's a common thing or something like that, and that happens often. So I don't know, but that's like the only thing that was really not a problem. Just something that kind of bugged me just a little bit. However, that can be quickly looked over and not a huge problem. Another thing that's really awesome is your Palico. Those guys are just so gosh darn adorable. And you can customize them and all that stuff. And from so far, there's three different armor sets that I've seen. Your basic one, you can start with leather, bone, and armor. And you can preview them to see what your little guy will look like. And while you're doing so, he does a cute little pose. It's so adorable. That's one of the things that like really hooked me on this. I know it's something tiny, but they're just so adorable. I can't help it. And it doesn't help that the Palicos run the canteen. And they've got a little cutscene. Now, yes, the cutscenes are the same every single time. But with the canteen one run by the Palicos, you can't stop watching it. It's just so cute and adorable. Especially when the big one just goes. But enough about that. There's a lot of stuff you can do in between hunts too to prepare. That can get daunting at too. Just what I had to do is like take a step back, slowly, read things, peruse, get to know what you're doing. It can get to be overwhelming, like I said. But again, don't let that stop you. It's a lot thrown at you. But it's still really fun. So I'm going to get back to it. See you later.